Okay, so this is going to be drawing class number 10, and today we are going to be looking at numbers and alphabets. It's sort of a similar task to the last ones that we've been doing. It's starting to create boxes to create objects that we actually want. So let's just start off with the number 1. So I'm wanting to draw a three-dimensional number 1. So I start with my first line. I'm going to work to my vanishing points you see here on these yellow pieces of paper. And I'm going to just draw a box. And the box, like this, goes to the vanishing point and so on. So now we look inside, and it would be fun to do a number 1 that has like a serif. That's that little tails on it. So I'm going to draw the body of the 1, and then this is the little foot that it goes on. There and there. And it comes up, across, and it goes to the vanishing point here, and then up. So there I've drawn the number 1 just on one face of the box. Then what I'm going to do is draw the side parts that are actually touching to the vanishing point. So you see here and then up here. So all the parts that are actually touching, see the top there, and then what I can do is mimic this curve but over here. There we go. And then mimic that one, and then draw that up. And then that little bit over there, we'll see a little bit of the foot of it. So there's my number 1. And then what I could do is maybe switch pencil. I could even do this in color. But essentially now I am putting in the dark tone. And then the mid-tone. It's going to be a little darker underneath there. And then my mid-tone there. Maybe darken this tone a little bit more. Like that. So there I have my number 1 as a box. Now number 2, let's start with this one. Lines to vanishing point, vertical. I'm only going to make it thinner this time. But a number 2 is wider, so I'm having to judge. There's the top. Now, a number 2 has a bottom bar. Now this is where it starts getting tricky because we have to plan out. It's going to touch here and come back to here, that outside line. So I'm just going to try and draw a smooth curve all the way around. Do you see? And then this one is going to go on the inside like that, and then that will be a vanishing point line. So there I've got my number 2. Again, take it to the vanishing point, that top edge, and then I mimic this curve with this curve, making a duplicate line, and then I mimic that one as well, and then that one goes to the vanishing point there. So then I can darken in these lines. Okay, now we get into some shading. This will be dark tone under here, going to light, mid-tone, bit of a graduated effect for this one, and then the side will be a dark tone. Looks like like I've made this side a little bit too dark, so I'm just going to take that out a little bit because that's really meant to be a mid-tone. Okay, number 2. Now, what we can do is we can mess around with where they are on the piece of paper. So this one down here, I'm going to do a number 3. So here we're going to go off to that number, that vanishing point, and there. My width is going to be similar to this one, but you'll see because it's so much further below the vanishing point and below further on the paper, the lines are going to be far more sharp, so I'm going to see much more of the top of the box. Okay, so a number 3 is going to be a little bit different because we've got that top line here, and this is all about judging again. And then we've got a part here where it's got to come around. Alright, we've got a line here that goes to there. So there's one side of it, and then this curve will come right around to there. That goes to the vanishing point. And we could do it like that. There. So number 3. I'm obviously using a certain kind of design of number 3. So, oops, vanishing point, a little bit there, but there. This one, I'm actually going to see the top part of that piece there, and I might also see that, which will be coming down there. So we've got these boxes will all be mid-tone here, and a little bit there. We might get a little bit of shadow under here, but then the side is going to be a dark tone. There. A little bit of shadow in there probably, but there's a number 3. So what we're going to do is do 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And so we'll just carry on, but you can choose where you want to place them. Let's do a number 4, oops, number 4 here. This one's fairly straightforward because it's just a bunch of lines. And then there's my box showing the width of the object. I can then darken in the shape of the number 4. There, and then take it to the vanishing point, that mimic that line here. That one will join to there. And you see we've got number 4 now. So I could shade in the side of it. There we go. Number 4. This will be a very mild light tone. This will be a mid-tone. This will be a mid-tone. That will be shaded, and that might have a little bit of shadow on it. Number 4. Let's do a number 5 here. Number 5 is sort of somewhat similar to a 3. So I've got my box. So you see we always start off with the complete box that the object is going into. And that's all by judgment, because obviously this one was a bit narrower than a number 5. So here is my number 5. I'm going to take a line across here, and that will come down there. And then the 5 will come here. There, so there's the number 5. And now we take our perspective lines and we can good. A little bit in there. So dark tone. This will be quite shadowed in here. There'll be a bit of shadow under there. There's my mid-tone. And there'll be a bit of shadow under there as well. And then we can go along and just tighten up our edges so that it's quite easy for us to understand. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Easy. Have a go and play with these shapes.